The teachers quitting mid-school year is nothing new. I mean, especially because of bad kids, I can imagine. I can only imagine, the things they have to go through. But it is happening much more than it has in the past, to the point to where thousands of teachers are quitting, and they're offering some pretty crazy bonuses to try and keep teachers at their schools longer, all around the nation. And we're going to watch some videos, try to get to the bottom of this. I think I know the reason. I think you know the reason. But let's hear why some of these teachers say that they leave specifically.
Teacher, here's the single biggest reason why I decided that I couldn't be a teacher anymore. There is no accountability in schools. There's no accountability for students, there's no accountability for teachers, and there's no accountability for parents. Students can pretty much do whatever they want. They got the freedom to be late to class every single day. They can roam around the hallways every single day and not go to class. They cannot do their assignments. They can be disruptive, and there's no repercussions. There's no accountability. And the worst part is it's not really even the student's fault. You can't really blame them because the system is not holding them accountable. Now, there are some schools that have great administration and they're trying super hard and they're doing many things to improve the system and to make it better. But most schools, there's no accountability going on. I think you would be shocked if you were to go into school and see what was happening. And if you try to talk to parents, there's a very select few that actually help with it. But the vast majority, they either don't know what to do or they're just completely helpless and they enable it. And there's so many bad teachers that shouldn't be teaching, but there's nobody that's holding them accountable or doing anything about it. And this is coming from a teacher that had great classroom management. Yes, I had some disruptive kids that were hard to keep them focused, and that's normal. But the vast majority of the issues that I experienced was because there's no accountability. There's nothing you can do. You can try to hold students accountable, and they're shocked by it because they're not used to it. That's just one of the reasons why I left. If you have any other questions or want to know anything else, please let me know, and I'm happy.
So, you know what he's saying. I don't know if that's independent to his school system specifically or his school specifically. Of course, he's in a career, he's in a field I know nothing about. But I will say I have a friend who's a teacher, and that's where most of my knowledge is going to be coming from pertaining to this subject. And one of the things he said is that the school that he was at was the school that the bad kids went to because they got expelled from the other schools. And in a lot of cases, like if there are no other schools for a person to go to, then the principal now loses the ability to expel kids from going to that school because that is the school they went to after being expelled. And if all of the kids are bad in a school, you can't just expel 90% of the kids in a school. That would look bad in so many different ways. And I'm sure that it would actually be a genuine problem for the city. So when that happens, when you have like a school where everybody is bad, so you can't expel them, even for the worst of offenses, there's nothing that you can use. There's nothing you can do to make them accountable anymore. You can't suspend them. You've suspended them 10 times this year. You can't suspend them every day of the year. That's basically an expulsion. And then if you do expel them, where do they go? To another school? And how many of them are you going to expel? You're going to expel 90% of the kids who are starting fights and doing crazy things in a school. So I can imagine in a structure like that, it's very difficult to achieve accountability or to force accountability because there's literally no threat. There's no threat that you can give. There's no power that you have over their actions. It's ultimately just them deciding whether or not they're going to come to class, whether or not they're going to interact with the lessons. That's rough.
From the kids, they can't retain nothing. I can say, make sure you color each image, and immediately someone will say, do we have to color the image? Y'all got to take them phones away from them kids. I had a child do a move that I know she learned from Chris Brown, and you know that means it was a freaky deaky move. This is a 4th grader. Read books. I got multiple 3rd graders who couldn't read the directions to this worksheet. The directions read, color each image. Write an F for fruit and a V for vegetables. They couldn't read it. Miss Austin, can you help me? I said, help.
So this is something that I've been seeing a lot, that Gen Alpha, just no ability to read. Like they genuinely cannot read things. Reading is dead. That the only thing they can read is a YouTube title. And I guess they're going mostly off the thumbnails for those. But I can imagine the illiteracy rates are about to skyrocket in the country.
You what? Read the directions. I said, you can't read? They said no. I said, why not? They said, I don't know. I said, do you practice at home? They said, a little bit. Read them kids a goddamn book. Not only do you need to take the phones away from the kids, you got to feed them kids vegetables. You got to show them real whole foods. They come in with Takis every day, mouth and fingers blue. But they don't know the color of a raspberry. I had a girl ask me if corn was a fruit. We watched a whole lesson on fruit.
Now, I'm gonna forgive the girl for that one because what's a fruit and what's a vegetable can be confusing until you like permanently instill the ideas or the distinction between fruits and vegetables in your head. I can kind of get that one, right? Watch another one.
Crazy health problems that nobody could figure out what was wrong with me. And I went to a specialist finally. She told me, honey, you're very stressed. You need to get a new job. And I was like, you're so funny. And she was like, no, I'm serious. Your job is you. Yeah. So eventually I ended up leaving like 5 years after that. And my health problems all just kind of mysteriously went away. So it turns out she was right. Fabulous doctor, great advice that I wish I would have taken sooner. If you are a teacher with mysterious health problems, or not mysterious, and you know...
Ooh, this voice. Man, I'm such a douchebag, but this voice, oh, it's like nails against a chalkboard. Let me be quiet.
that it is, in fact, directly related to your teaching job, which, spoiler alert, probably is. If you want to explore your options, let me know. I have a Quit Teaching Club where I help educators every day with leaving their teaching jobs that are quite literally sucking the life.
Okay, that's enough. Always somebody selling a course. But yes, stress decreases your average life expectancy. Stress is like a genuine killer. It actually decreases the amount of time that you can spend on Earth. So this is another reason, I'm guessing collectively, why she's explaining this and it's titled the video this. Genuine health problems coming from the stress that these teachers are experiencing with the current kids in their schools.
Videos that keep rolling through my timeline of teachers that are not returning to the classroom after the winter break tomorrow should have you parents concerned. But let me tell you why they're not coming back. Because of the other videos that we keep seeing of you delusional ass parents and your bullshit. Case in point, there's a lady right now that is so upset, she is livid, that her son cannot participate in the school play because that is a consequence from him pulling down another kid's pants at school. She said, boys will be boys. Not her freaking son is a bully, and bullies will be bullies, but boys will be boys. And he hurt my son's feelings. He just cried.
So this kind of plays into what the first guy was talking about, the just lack of accountability from anybody who would actually be able to make the kid in their class do what the kid in their class is supposed to do. If there's no consequences at home or in the school for any kids doing anything, then what is the system built on? It's a foundation built upon sand. You know, there's no power to fall back on to make a kid do something. And especially now with today's rules, I mean, you better not even get close to them before you potentially get a lawsuit. I know when my grandparents were in school, they were allowed to get whooped in school. You know, they had paddles and stuff. That's definitely not happened today. And I'm not saying that that's the solution, but what I'm saying is we've come very, very far from any sense of power that the teachers previously had in their hands. The teachers, the principals, the administration, and the parents aren't enacting it, so they don't have any power either, or at least they aren't utilizing the power that they literally quite do have from birthing the kid. But if you're not using it, it's the same as not having it.
Oh yeah, here we go. I was tired of showing up to work every single day knowing that some kid someday was going to be seriously hurt from another kid, and there was nothing that I could do about it. I prevented a kid from being beaten. I prevented a girl from being smashed in the head with an iPad. I was tired of getting hit. I was tired of being disrespected every single day as if I was nobody standing there. I wasn't a...
They got kids bashing other kids with iPads? What can you do? What can you do? The iPad kids are now weaponizing the iPads?
authority because there was nothing to stop them from doing anything. They don't suspend, they don't expel, because that makes them look bad. It makes the numbers look bad. It's the system. The system is broken. It's a Title I school. They get food. You know what happens at the end of the day? If they don't eat the food, even though it's unopened, they throw it in the trash. The system is broken. I was tired of watching the good kids, the great kids who had a great family life, be sucked into the negativity and the bad behavior and the overall thought that school doesn't matter, who the hell cares? I'm just here to hang out with my friends. I was tired of not being able to get in touch with any parent ever. The ones that I needed to talk to, at least. I was tired of being told every single time, just document it, just write it down, just document it, just document it, just document it, and nothing gets done. You're just documenting for no reason. I was tired of saying you have detention and being laughed at, knowing that they're not going to show up to the detention and then nothing else is going to happen and I can't reach home. So then what am I supposed to do? They don't care about their grades.
This goes back to the accountability. Sorry to pause it, of the first guy, because like, what systems are in place? How is detention not detention? Like, why are there absolutely no systems in place for these things to actually be acted upon? They have no fallback systems, and like he said, what happens when he protects a kid from another kid with an iPad and he gets into jail for it?
It's either, and this was not all of them, because it's not just that. It's also finding out from another teacher that one of the girls who said to me, I don't think my mom loves me. And when I told her and assured her that that was never the case and that couldn't be the case, and I talked to the teacher, and she said she's seen them together, and that might be the case. And during the pandemic, when the little girl would always send me emails at 1 a.m., left alone by herself, later finding out that she would get hit, having to report it to DHS, and then finding out that that girl no longer was allowed to come to my class by her mom, and that the last thing that I had heard was she got her Christmas taken away for telling me the system is broken. I left because I cared too much to watch it anymore. And I give so many teachers credit that can continue to show up with a smile on their face in that. Not the hour commute either. It was the hardest thing that I ever did to leave. And not a day goes by where I don't think about how they're doing. And how hard it was to walk away because I finally chose myself. I chose my mental health over them. Finally. To the teachers out there, salute you. Don't listen to people like this. Oh yeah, here we go.
So a couple weeks ago, I had resigned from teaching, and this is the last day of winter break, so I will not be returning. Now, I am not someone that thought that I would join that epidemic of teachers that leave before their first 5 years. I didn't even expect to leave mid-year. Now, I want to say it was a hard decision to resign, but honestly, it wasn't. I think the hardest part about me resigning was just doing it without a backup plan, but that is just where I was mentally. And I'll be honest, I don't know if I will be returning to the classroom again. What really caught me off guard was the literacy crisis that we are in. You truly do not understand how bad it is unless you are a teacher or in the classroom and you see it yourself. Now, I am a teacher in Oklahoma, and we are the bottom of education. Now, I compared my experience.
I don't know about them being the bottom of education. Maybe it changed, but the last thing I was aware of is that Louisiana and Mississippi are the bottom of education, the absolute bottom.
Teaching third grade to when I was a third grader. And I remember when I was in third grade, we were, reading chapter books. I remember following along as my teacher read them. In third grade, you're no longer learning to read, you're reading to learn. Now, when I was teaching third grade,
That's a very specific thing for her, I believe, because reading to learn is a thing that the vast majority of humans, especially in the U.S., don't do at all. So, that's a skill set that not only is this generation potentially lacking, but is lacking in the world in general.
Saw firsthand so many of these students were probably at a kindergarten and first grade level. Like, it was an accomplishment if I could get these children to write one sentence. And I'm not blaming them, it's the system that let them down. Now, aside from that, there's a lot of systematic issues that go into the literacy crisis, but I don't want to touch on that right this second. But aside from that, it was also the behaviors. I felt like I was constantly redirecting and trying to recorrect these behaviors more than I was teaching. And I'm not even kidding, trying to get them to sit still for more than 5 seconds was a challenge. It would take me probably 5 minutes, maybe more, just to get through one problem on one lesson. Now, we had pacing guides, and I probably did not follow them correctly because for my classroom, that just didn't work. But I felt like I was always behind because I felt like for where my class was, the modules it just didn't work. Also, I felt like every day was like the first day of school all over again. Since the first day of school, I constantly had to reinstill the expectations, routines, and procedures as if it was the first day of school. I had to yell in order for my class to even hear me. I even got one of those, like those headsets with the microphone, and I still had to raise my voice while it was amplified because my class was just that loud.
That must be something new. Headsets with microphones? That is crazy that that's even a thing that's needed. None of these classrooms, unless they have 100 students each, and I'm aware of the fact that they've become, college classes in terms of their sizes, require you to scream to be heard. So the environment has to be so bad that not only do they regularly have to scream to be heard, but they also need microphones and amplifiers to be heard. Better than me.
Of course, I did reach out to admin for support. My principal had come in a few times. I had a few teachers even advocate for me, saying like, hey, like, she really could use your help, but my principal had told them, I've gone into her classroom and she does just fine. But I was not fine. I struggled. And it got to a point where I was having panic attacks every single day. I mean, I'm talking like nausea.
Okay, so she's reinforcing the lady earlier. Like, these teachers are going through it. I mean, it's genuinely it's emotional warfare that they have to go through. And my friend kind of confirms this. Like, some of the war stories that he has talking about his experience, his first year teaching, are insane. He told me this story about this woman who put a few dollars, just like a few dollars, on her desk while in the classroom, and it was her kids' chore money. I think he told me that the woman turned around, turned back, and the money was gone. And then nobody coughed up to tell like who took the money. We're talking a few dollars here. We're talking nothing that's gonna get them anywhere. Nothing that's chore money. The heartless nature of these kids. He told me that they would also regularly raid the vending machine. We're talking breaking the glass and taking the drinks and the food out of the vending machine. I know I'm laughing and this is a serious thing, but it's I guess the comical nature lies in how absurd it is. It's absurdity. It's me facing absurdity with comedy. Not to say that this isn't serious business. It's just crazy that this is actually happening. This is a normal situation. These are normal events for these teachers.
It got to a point where I was having panic attacks every single day. I mean, I'm talking like nausea, I had shakes really bad. I don't even know how many sick days I took because I just could not make it. And I really, really tried to make it to the last day of school, but it got to a point where it really did affect my physical health. I ended up in the ER. I had to be put on like 2 or 3 different kinds of medication, and I just don't think that should be normalized just to get through a job. It's just really disheartening because teaching is not what it used to be, and these behaviors I feel like are just really out of control. I feel like admin doesn't take it as seriously, and a lot of the parents sure as hell don't care. Now, I know other schools and districts out there are pretty good. I was told, to try out different districts, different schools, but I'm so traumatized from my experience. I don't know if I ever want to teach again. But right now, I'm working on applying for my master's and just currently finding other things to do besides teaching. But who knows, maybe sometime in the future I might go back.
So one of the things in teaching right now is that kids are creating things with ChatGPT, and then teachers are grading the things with ChatGPT. And if teachers are quitting and it's to the point to where they aren't coming back because of how bad it is, then, I mean, it's going to be advantageous for these AI companies to then come in and be like, okay, that's fine. We can just use AI to teach the kids. Like, if there are less teachers and there's truly a deficit that exists in the market for teachers, I hate to say it, but it becomes logical and commercially intelligent for that position to then be filled by artificial intelligence if nobody wants to do the job. And again, can you blame them for not wanting to do the job with some of the horror stories we're hearing?
Be with kids, but I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So one of my friends was like, hey, like, you should apply to my school, da-da-da-da. I applied to the school. I ended up getting an interview at the school. Okay, fine. I ended up interviewing at the school. Everything works great. I ended up moving to the city. Everything's perfect. What I didn't know was that post-grad was going to hit like a truck. It was going to hit like a truck, like the Polar Express, actually, bigger than the Polar Express, the Titanic. That's how it hit. And I just was not ready for adult life. I wasn't. I was literally drowning in everything when it came to the bills, when it came to taking care of yourself. You know, when you're in college, like, I don't know, like, honestly, like, if you take care of yourself in college, like, whoop-de-doo, good for you. When I was in college, I was not doing the best taking care of myself. I was not really taking my vitamins. I just was not doing what a lady should have been doing. So being that I wasn't taking care of myself, I was like literally always around people. Like, I was always around my friends. I literally did not know how to be alone. So when I got to my apartment here, like, I was literally like going insane. Like, I was like, what the going on? Like, I literally have to sleep in this by myself. I can't invite my homegirl over here. I can't, like, yeah, I was not familiar with it. So I was just really going through a very lonely time, very depressed. I wasn't eating. I was driving to the city that I went to school in all the freaking time because I literally just could not fathom the fact that I was an adult and I literally had to, like, work corporate. Like, imagine, like, graduating from A&T and then literally having to work a corporate job. Like, it's a reality check. Like, college for me, it wasn't real.
Okay. I gotta pause this here. Because we've gone 1,000 different places in 10 seconds. Knowledge is different from the job you're going to work. She is harped on this point as being the end of all things for a minute and 39 seconds. And isn't there an opportunity and a purpose that exists within college? Because I don't know what she's about to say about the kids, but her being basically a kid who just got into the teaching workforce, isn't that the place where you're supposed to develop, you know, those things before you go and get the corporate job while you were in school for those years? Anyway, maybe this will get better, but as of right now, this has been absolute chaos. And this is a 10-minute video. Probably going to be the last video for the video because I don't know if we're going to get anywhere with this one, but let's go.
It was not real. Like, I feel like I passed with flying colors, and I feel like everybody at A&T could say that, but nevertheless, I was not ready for my job. The people at my job were really, really mean. I literally only had my friend that, like, referred me to the job, and then I met a friend there, like a teacher friend that was in my, like, team, because it was a kindergarten team. And, you know, I understand, like, when teachers are seasoned, they kind of expect you to know what to do, but it was like I was a beginning teacher. I literally had never did student teaching. I only, like, did volunteer work and stuff like that. So I really just threw myself out there to the wolves, and I didn't even know what was going to happen. And I was just drowning, y'all. And then I had a TA, and she barely did anything, like, and I'm not going to say she didn't do anything, but I feel like she wanted to see me fail rather than help me. Like, kind of like, oh, well, since you seem to know everything, like, I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to, you know, or like the class will be in an uproar and like, she'll be like, oh, like, she doesn't have any classroom routine. She doesn't have any classroom management. And it's just like, dang, girl, like, you low key went to school for this. Like, why don't you help me and give me some tips? Because I'm the type of person, like, if you give me constructive criticism, as
Because that girl went to school for that doesn't mean she knows what she's doing. Especially if she's the TA and you're actually the teacher. She's figuring this out just like you. You can't put the burden of managing the class on the TA. TA is supposed to do the things that are instructed to her by said teacher. Let's continue.
long as you come at me the right way, like, I'm going to listen. So long story short, me and her were not getting along at all. Like, it was to the point where it was like she had to go to different rooms because it was like, if you're going to be in here and just judge me and not help me, like, don't come in here. And I remember I just used to go to work every day feeling so shitty because it was like, dang, like, all these people are looking down at me. I'm literally the youngest teacher in the school, and these people are intimidated by me, and I'm sitting here just trying to do my best. I didn't really understand the lesson plans. I understood the lesson plans, but like when it comes to like having to like make them and like look in the book and do this and do that, like it was just a lot that I have never done before, on top of me not already taking care of myself. So I was letting myself go. I was going crazy. I remember one time they went into my room while I was not there, and they were like, okay, like, we're going to deep clean her room, because it was just that bad. Like, it was to the point where teachers were like, oh, she's not here. We're cleaning her room. It's too crazy. The kids can't learn in here. Like, they were talking so much mess about me, but it's like nobody ever really wanted to help me. And it's like, dang, like the only two people.
This girl, what? They had to go in her room and deep clean her room, and she's complaining. She's complaining like, like her room being ratchet and dirty is somehow the fault of the school. Oh man, I don't think this is gonna get any better. Hope there's a light at the end of this tunnel.
But that were there for me were my two friends. So after that, I just really was like, I can't do this anymore. I remember telling myself, like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, I'm just going to start looking for other jobs. Like, I remember I was literally at school. The kids were in their little small groups, and I was like on my computer looking for jobs. I remember literally on my lunch break, I interviewed with a job, and I was like, yeah, like, I cannot wait to get out of here, because I felt so SHITTY about myself, because this was not what I thought it was going to be. And I had this idea back then that, like, while like people should be nice to me because I'm a good person, like, what, like, why are you being mean to me? Like, am I mean to you? Like,
Okay, we're gonna stop the video there. I'm gonna talk about what this really is. I think this is a theory that extremely attractive women, especially leaving college where they were glorified to the highest degree, and the highest degree that they'll ever be glorified for their looks, have more difficulties adjusting to normal society, where, you know, you aren't going to be worshipped and followed by all the men on the team and every person in your staff. And where everybody doesn't inherently have to be your friend and nice to you because you're a good person. Because in the real world, you know, that's just not the case. Because you're a good person, if anything, that means that you're going to get stepped on more rather than being respected for being a kind person, or being treated nicely for it. I could be completely wrong. She could completely change the story for the next 6 minutes, but I'm not going to stay here and listen to it. I think the other people gave us a clear enough idea of what's happening, the amount of stress that these teachers are going through, and the struggles that they're currently experiencing with kids, that the system that maybe existed for us doesn't exist for them. Maybe we'll watch some more videos in the future and try to get further down to the bottom of it. But I completely understand. I personally know for a fact I wouldn't be able to do it. So all power to them, and I hope them the best on their future endeavors. This girl, though, I mean, yeah.